do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
Oh, I think that I found myself a cheerleader. She is always right there when I need her. Oh, me, see it happen on CVM TV. I'm out.
You know what's sweet?
Good evening and welcome to Lead Story. I'm Giovanni Dennis. We're talking hairstyles and school policies. Now picture this, it's the first day of the new school year. The school bell rings and students begin to fill their classrooms, but outside the school gates, a group of students stand stranded. Their offense, a pants deemed too tight, a pair of shoes not the right shade, or a hairstyle that doesn't align with the school's grooming policy. Now, this happened at least in 2 schools on Monday, triggering a heated debate among stakeholders. Now, adding fuel to the fire, another high school announced a controversial ban on edges. Now, that's styling baby hairs with gel, that some women do, or girls as well, saying, quote, curtains belong in the house, not on foreheads. Now, are these rules protecting discipline and standards, or are they unfairly punishing students and disrupting their right to education? And at what point do we draw the line between enforcing order and denying opportunity? Joining us this evening to examine the tensions between schools and students' rights, Dr. Mazike Tame, Senior Lecturer, Department of Government at the University of the West Indies, Mona, and Professor Emerita Caroline Cooper. She is a former lecturer of literacy and cultural studies at the University of the West Indies, Mona, and well-known Gleaner columnist as well. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. Let's go first, though, to a Vox Pop. We spoke to members of the public today to get their views on what has transpired so far since the start of the new school year.
Well, the attire, I can definitely agree with whatever code that the school might have. You know, whether it's the hemming of the ladies' skirts too short or pants too tight for the gentlemen. The hair thing now, I'm not so much with that as well, because a lot of these girls do have some of them do have a lot of small hair, and when they don't lay it down, it does, you know, have a very unkempt look to it.
And so I do believe that the appearance of some students, right, can deter not their learning ability, but it can be somewhat of a distraction. When you're so much focused on, you know, appearance coming to school rather than what you're actually taking home, right, it can be something to go against, you know, not the motive of the school, but what you take home as an individual. So as for the females, though, I do see some schoolgirls walking around with some skirts really short or whatever it is, and it really comes down to, okay, what's the motive? Why are you going to school? Are you going to school to please others? Are you going to school to actually take in your education, right? But I can say sometimes, though, that the attire, some schools take it out of proportion, right? For example, some young men with their hair, it might be not too high, but not too low, like right in the middle. You know, sometimes they get sent home for that as well. So I think that discretion can be used by some of the school leaders, especially on the first day of school.
I don't think it should be I don't think they should be locked up because they're going to school for education. I don't think that here should stop them pursuing education. So I don't think they should be locked out.
Yeah, I think it's a stupid rule because the girls, because I heard it's Andrew's girls it was for. I don't think that's a rule that should be in place for them because it's an all-girls school. They're not going for looks, you know, they're going for education.
You know, I do believe that as Jamaicans and children in particular, they need to know that they have to follow rules and regulations. because that is how society keeps its order. So, I mean, the approach of the schools to like lock them out, like have them outside of the gate, maybe the schools can come up with a different ramification to, keep them in order. Because I don't like them locking them out of the school. So
Well, for me, I understand why them lock them out because grooming is a must. When we used to go to school, certain things when I see people I don't know, could do it back then. So them have all right for lock them out.
All right, so members of the public, they're reacting to what has been happening since the start of the new school year. When we come back, our guests will be responding. Stay with us here on Lead Story. I'm Giovanni Dennis.
You know what's sweet? The new pack Sweet Living promotion. Win great prizes. Living room set, or bedroom set, or kitchen appliance set. Plus 2 consolation prizes of AC units. Send in 5 new pack labels or receipts. Labels must belong to at least the new pack canned beans or peas, new pack ketchup, and new pack oil categories. Fill out the tagline. New pack, more than just value. Place your entry in one of the drop boxes at participating outlets. Enter by mail or online at newpackjamaica.com. Time to live sweet. Enter the new pack Sweet Living promotion. July 13th to September 6th. See the press for more details. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting Gaming.
Ashman's Equipment, the new name in forklift sales and rentals in Jamaica. Top quality, low prices, fleet discounts available, 12-month warranty, free service parts, daily rentals, crazy cheap. Ashman's Equipment, same forklift, better deals.
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yeah.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
Welcome back to Lead Story. I'm Giovanni Dennis. Now, before I get comment from our guests, just to say that the principal of St. Andrew High School for Girls has said that students aren't barred from entering. There's simply a ban on the edges. Now, this issue of hairstyles among Jamaican students is not new, but reacting to this particular issue, though, with the ban on edges at St. Andrew High School for Girls, your reactions to what has developed out of this situation, Dr. Thame?
I'm not sure what you mean, what has developed out of the situation.
Well, reactions, your thoughts on the ban, firstly.
Okay. I mean, the particulars of edges, it has to do with class and an idea of, what is attractive. All of this has to do with how we understand beauty, how we understand the place of beauty in schools. It is a cultural context that we are dealing with here. And in all of these cases, it also has to do with ideas about how you discipline black people. Education in this country and in the colonial world, but especially in the Caribbean, is rooted in ideas of civilization, whose culture ought to be protected. And in our experience of education, there are still significant remnants of colonial experience, Eurocentric ideas, and ideas about hair and presentation of body fit into those norms. It may manifest along class lines sometimes in the particulars of the edges, what we call baby hair as children. I do think that is typically associated with working class people, and that the school has taken a position that has to do with what they deem to be respectable appearance for a school.
Yeah. Your thoughts, Professor Cooper?
Completely agree with Dr. Thame. But I just want to add another layer to the conversation, because many young people love to be in style. Many old people love to cramp young people's style. And I think a lot of old people forget what it is like to be young. They forget the joy of celebrating yourself with a like a baby hair. Now, me personally, me don't like the baby hair something, you know. But that is not going to stop me, make me stop young people from having baby hair. A lot of people would say that my hairstyle mad, you know. And let me tell you, it's just because my little invitation to come on the program came so late. Otherwise, I would have gone to my barber Zach's in Premier Star Plaza, like a Premier Plaza, big up Zach's, and shave off back the side. Because, you know, this is my personal style right now.
You're plugging your barber on the program, Professor Cooper.
Yes?
You really found a way to plug your barber on the program, Professor Cooper.
Yes, man, but I'm making an important point that style is an essential part of our identity. And we really have to acknowledge that young people like to present themselves in a stylish way. And part of being stylish is having people who are able to make you feel good. So it's not a question of plugging my barber. It's making the point that we have to celebrate the artists. You're going to say I'm plugging my hairstylist, Carol Reed, but she's fantastic. When I go to her with my ideas, she's willing to try all kinds of crazy things.
But here's the thing, Professor Cooper. What Miss Ingram of St. Andrew High School for Girls is saying is that it's distracting the students. They're spending additional time in the bathroom trying to fix and perfect these edges, and it's distracting them from their actual lessons and classes. Is that unreasonable?
But isn't the same principle saying that the students are performing very well? Is there any correlation between fixing up your baby hair and not performing well academically? Has there been any research that proves that the young girls who fix up them baby hair not doing well academically? There is no tension. You know, I have a PhD in literature. By the way, it's literary and cultural studies, not literacy, and I'm a former Gleaner columnist. The fact that I have a PhD in literature and Maziki has a PhD in politics doesn't mean that we're not into style too. So it, you know, is a false binary that they're setting up. Is either you're going to perform well academically or you're going to waste time fixing up your baby hair. It's nonsense, and it's time we put down our foot in this country and allow young people the freedom to express themselves. Flip Wilson, that American comedian, Black American comedian, used to say, when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you move good. So maybe the baby here will actually help the young people to have a positive self-image and move through the school with power and pride.
You've both written about this issue in this book that you have here, Marcus Garvey, Pedagogy and the Power of Education. Dr. Tame, you see this issue as anti-blackness. Why do you refer to it that way? This overall issue, not specifically necessarily what happened on Monday at St. Andrew High School for Girls.
Well, I mean, I would tie that into it because the particular hairstyles that are under assault are Black people's hairstyles.
Exactly.
The particular hair that is deemed out of control, unruly, needs to be tamed, is Black people's hair. And it is coming from somewhere. We have to ask questions about where do these uniform rules come from in the first place? Where do these hair rules come from in the first place? And I'm pointing out that they come from an anti-Black place that is about controlling the unruly Black body. That says that if we are going to become distracted by self-expression, that we won't learn if we are concerned with our hair, etc. And as Prof. Cooper points out, there is no evidence that that is the case. Yeah. So what is the preoccupation really about? And school is, of course, not just about what we are learning. School is a social environment. And young people want to present themselves, they want to express themselves, etc. And the question is, why do we believe that education is about killing creativity?
Yeah.
And could I just add quickly?
I want to add that point, Professor Cooper, where we are up on another break. So as soon as we come back from the break, you can make that point. Stay with us here on Lead Story, talking hairstyles and school rules. We'll be right back.
Jamaica is paving the way to becoming a republic or future or choice. The time by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs is
6:40. Where it all begins. The quest to become great. Inspired by those who went before them, these four boys dream of playing in the ISSA schoolboy football competitions.
Will he score this for Casey? Will he score? It's a shot! It's a goal!
And it's a shot, and it's a goal! And Casey has won the Manning Cup, and they will play Clarendon College in the Olivia Shield.
Every dream conquered is another dream gained. I land and I fly again like a jet plane. Headed straight in your direction. 'Cause I'm wiser, one step closer. I'm winning 'cause I work so hard. And the music keeps on playing, and the people them I say we are my show tonight. Oh, what a feeling! Don't stop dreaming. Keep on believing in the power of the feeling. Whatever you want, take a chance. Song in your heart, step in your dance. You got the spark, don't fit the dark. Shine your lights on.
Welcome back to Lead Story. I'm Giovanni Dennis. We're talking hairstyles, grooming, and school rules. And Professor Cooper, before the break, you wanted to make a point in relation to what Dr. Tame was saying.
Yes, I just wanted to make the point that the whole idea of the uniform veers into uniformity. That if everybody doesn't present themselves in the same way, something is wrong. You know, we had that debate about young black boys with their hairstyles going up, and that's a problem. And certain Caucasian and Indians and those people with their Chinese with their hair going down long was not a problem. But if black people's hair goes up, it's an issue. So there's definitely an issue of race that we have to take into account.
I just want to add to that, Professor Cooper. You have a 2022 article here in the Gleaner, Hair Police and Teaching Self-Hatred. You see this as self-hatred. Why?
I don't even remember the details of that article.
Spoke about lice in locks, the fear of saying, you know, some lice lurking in dreadlocks, or it's here that's too high. Students are expected to conform to regulations that do not always take into account the way their hairs grow naturally.
Absolutely. So it is teaching young black people that who they are naturally is not acceptable. That's the same point that Dr. Tame is making. It's a colonialist view of education. Remember, education was to transform us, you know, to make us reject the backward African values, including our perception of our bodies, our hair, our skin color, our shape. Everything was unacceptable. And so education was to lead us from that backward self into this enlightened self. Let me tell you, when I was at primary school in the dark ages, and I said dark ages with irony, because some of those dark ages were still enlightened more than we are now. We used to say like a prayer at the end of every day. Lighten our darkness, we beseech thee, O Lord, and by thy great mercy defend us from all the perils and dangers of this night. Now listen, lighten our darkness was a problem. Maybe it was not intended to be literal, but if 5 days a week, you have children at the end of the school day saying, lighten our darkness, you're going to wonder why we have a problem with skin bleaching? Because children want to lighten their darkness. And we're not dealing with these issues. We talk about out of many one people, but it's only one set of people that are constantly brutalized by the system, made to feel inferior, made to feel that who they are naturally is a problem. And we need to deal with it.
Yeah,
This is the 21st century.
I just want to share that a 2023 school dress and grooming policy that was released by the Ministry of Education. And under the guiding principles, it says the policy is underpinned by 8 guiding principles: equity and diversity and inclusion in education, respect for institutional identity, ethos and tradition, school autonomy within defined limits, affording school administrators flexibility to deal with local conditions, balancing student rights with the operational requirements of schools. Students should be encouraged to adhere to the grooming rules, the best interest of the child, including safety, health and well-being, both physical and psychological, and respect for inclusiveness. On this point, though, on this 1, 2, 3, the third point here on autonomy within the defined limits that the schools should have, Jayan is saying that, you know, it's calling for meaningful intervention from the Ministry of Education, though. Do you think, Dr. Thame, that the policies, as it is probably a little bit too broad, gives the schools, sometimes school administrators, a little bit too much leeway in terms of what they do?
I mean, I think we should look at the approach. A lot of it involves humiliating children, right? I mean, the locking out of the school gates, the calling them out for how their hair looks. There's a lot of embarrassment that goes into it. And it ties into an idea of, you know, how we discipline black children, right? And I think the ministry has to be clearer on these issues as it relates specifically to here. And I think that we should listen to young people. I think that there is space for democracy, negotiating with children to see how it is that they think that they can create conditions in which they are both, you know, disciplined to learning, not disciplined in the sense of humiliation and policing, and at the same time given some freedom to express themselves.
Okay, on that point, we did speak with Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon today, and this is what she had to say about an updated school grooming policy.
In terms of the grooming policy, as you said, it has gone through several rounds. Everybody had their say. We had the principals, we also had our teachers, we also had our students giving their comments on it. So it's actually quite comprehensive, and we even had the Attorney General looking at it. We feel very strongly that it has to be finalized in a very collaborative approach. And so it's already gone through several rounds of consultation. There will obviously need to still be a few more before it's taken to cabinet, but we're expecting to try to finalize it during this school term, which ends in December.
All right, so a stronger grooming policy from the ministry. Do you think this may help solve the problem, Professor Cooper?
It depends on what the grooming policy is, because if you have a strong grooming policy that, as we have been saying, alienates black people, makes them feel inferior, makes them feel that their natural self is unacceptable, this is not going to solve the problem. The schools need to be much more sensitive to what the students want, because when you allow children the freedom of self-expression, you get the best out of them. Why do the children want to have their little baby here? It makes them feel good. It makes them feel in style. When they go on the internet and they see Beyonce talking about baby hair, they know that they're part of a Black power movement for beauty for black people. So that is what I don't think the government policies, the school policies are taking that into account. Why do the girls want to wear this particular hairstyle? Has anybody asked them how they feel?
Beyond the female hairstyles, the girls' hairstyle and the baby hair, even the fades for that some young boys wear, as well as, you know, probably a little bit of afro in the hair. So I've seen young men being sent home for that as well, sent to the barbers for those things. But and for full disclosure, I did put this question to the Prime Minister in an interview recently here on Lead Story, and he said that the government's policy that students ought not to be sent home. It's the same thing that Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon said, that, you know, yes, schools have rules, but the appropriate punishment shouldn't be sending them home, though. How do we, from your perspective, Dr. Thame, address this issue, because it's not just limited to the baby here. No, the issue is not new. It happens almost not almost, every single year at the beginning of a school year, and sometimes throughout there we see something like this happening. How do we solve it?
I think that we need to think about what is the principle that should guide grooming. And given the history of education in this country, I think we should be thinking along the lines of decolonizing education. And that means building the confidence of all the peoples who find themselves here in Jamaica and treating our education as a process of making them confident in themselves. Now, I'm not necessarily arguing that all aspects of, beauty regimes are in our interest. We don't talk about, for example, the ways in which hair straightening is unhealthy for black girls. Yet, there's no question about that in the school system, right? That is thought of as appropriate grooming. So that I think we have to think about it in terms of what is the interest of our children in the context of our history, a history that humiliated and dehumanized black people, and that we are repeating rituals of humiliation when it comes to how we treat them in relation to their self-expression.
For you, Professor Cooper, we have just about 90 seconds to go. The way forward on this issue, I mean, it's beyond just here, but, students being sent home for the color, the shoes, the pants, if it's a little bit too tight.
All right. I have, if the boys, the buttons are not there, that's a problem. Because there's a difference between tidiness and the aesthetic, what you feel good about. Maybe that, I don't think anybody going to say, going to school with missing buttons is a style. I don't think we'll reach there yet. What I believe we must do is talk to the young people. I just repeating myself, find out why they do what they do. I don't see why a young man can't have his head side shaved. How is that going to